coworker, Milica Zetz. We started this about 2 years ago, and as it says, immersive content studio, and that sounds kind of vague, because it's good to keep it that way, because everything keeps sort of evolving, reinventing itself, but we specifically work in virtual and augmented reality, as well as large-scale immersive installations. And we just started a brand new office at AIGA about 2 weeks ago, where we're showing both Giant and Tree, as well as some other things as well. But so my background in VR actually started in 2014. Giant is from 2016, but I produced a project called Clouds, back when there was only 2 other projects at Sundance Film Festival. So it was really interesting to sort of see how it's evolved since then too. But Milica and I decided that we wanted to start our own company. We were working for other people before doing interesting projects, but we thought that we had something interesting to bring to the table as well. So with Giant, as you can see, it's a project inspired by real events, because Milica grew up in Serbia, and we wanted to be able to sort of visualize, to be able to immerse a viewer in a basement with a family during their last moments. But with a lot of conflict that's happening in the world, people will look at their phone and just sort of scroll through it. We wanted people to be in the basement with them during the last moments. And it's called Giant because the 2 parents are convincing their daughter that the approaching bomb blast is in fact a friendly giant that wants to play with a little girl. But it was important too that we make this so this isn't this is a Western audience, so it feels like it's happening possibly in Park Slope or somewhere in Chicago. It's faceless, so people automatically project sort of their own. They use their own creativity and sort of pull from their own fears as well, which is incredibly powerful. Not to sort of hit people over the head with the story, but allow them to sort of fill those gaps in. And with this too, it's not just the visual elements that are important, but also how can we paint a broader picture with sound as well. What's unique about VR is that it's not just on one plane like we're listening to now. We basically have speakers that is stereo, or it could be 5.1. But now with VR, we can play sounds above us, and we can have them move down, and we can design experiences where we're able to lead them through. We can direct them more specifically as to how we want to. But ultimately, as creators, directors, whatever term you want to use, you sort of have to eventually sort of give up. You have to relinquish control over what you're creating, because the viewer can look at the wall behind them the whole time if they want. And if they're doing that, then you maybe lost them, but they also, you can't tell them that they're wrong. And when you think about VR, it's important to think about what happens before people get inside the headset. How can we begin the experience at the first point of contact? What is the first time they see a poster? What is the first thing they do when they walk into a room? And it's really important that we consider the participant or the user. I was at TED last year, and they made a funny joke that only 2 groups say user, and that's drug dealers and people working in software. And I think it's pretty true. So we'd like to say participant now. So it's important to think about where they are in space. Also make sure that, just like now, we're able to have more of an intimate moment as opposed to a conference room where I'm on putting someone in a fold-up chair with strapping a headset to them, and as soon as they're done, waking them up, bringing them back to reality. VR feels very much like a dream, so it's important how you offboard people as well as how you onboard them, because part of their brain is still going to be in that experience, and it's really important to consider the participant when it comes to this. Also, as we were saying, sound doesn't just necessarily need to be in the form of headphones being on your head or speakers in a room. We also wanted viewers to be able to feel the approaching bomb blasts. So we're big fans of being able to use haptics or extrasensory elements. In this case, we use a $45 butt kicker. It's more of a gaming thing, and a $5 IKEA stool, which actually turned out to work pretty well. And then, we want to, as I said, set the scene ahead of time. So we set users, 3 of them, inside of a room where there were shadow puppets, which sort of greeted them so they had an idea of what to experience in the headset. But everyone who watches VR comes with a different amount of experience, just like, say, with music taste. So it's important to be able to not overcomplicate things, or to be able to make them feel like they're doing something wrong if they're not understanding the user interaction, the participant interaction. So we took the learnings from that. We decided to create a trilogy where Giant is part 1, the harm that humans do to each other, where Tree is part 2, the harm that humans do to nature. And we're working on Breathe right now at RGA, which is a meditation on hope and sort of the human, the mortal condition, I guess you could say. And with Tree, we wanted to understand, we wanted people to feel what it was like to be a tree, not just, again, something that they read, and the statistics keep changing, but it's difficult for us to take action if we're not embodying that ourselves. With VR, there's a profound perspective shift where we're taking a 16 by 9 2D frame and we're dissolving it, so there is no more frame. So wherever we look, we're reappropriating our eyes and our ears, but also other senses as well. And NASA said specifically in the rainforest that in 80 years there won't be any more rainforest. So it's really important for us to be able to take action. So we worked with the Rainforest Alliance as our NGO. They're based here in New York. And they really helped us understand and paint this picture of what the Amazon looks like, what areas are specifically threatened, and understand with scientists and biologists what the ecosystem looks like, the flora, the fauna, but also the inherent threats that are facing it every day. So in our experience, we give you a seed of the actual kapok tree. You plant it in real life, in real soil. Being able to plant yourself gives you more of a feeling of responsibility for the character that you're going to inhabit. You grow through the soil. We give you different smells of being underground. We work with International Flavors and Fragrances, which is located actually not too far from here. And then when you pierce through the soil, you also sort of witness the majesty of nature. You grow to be one of the tallest trees in the forest, the kapok tree, which also the indigenous people of Peru believe that knowledge is passed down through different generations. So it's important that we chose the right tree. And ultimately, when all the elements come together, it's a photoreal environment where for us, immersion is the most important thing. With more immersion, ultimately, there's more emotion. With more emotion, there's more impact. And with this, we worked with Droga 5 to be able to give people a takeaway at the end. We give them the seed back, as well as an insert that says, take the seed as a reminder to keep our forest standing. And that it's a subtle thing, but it allows you to sort of bridge the virtual and real worlds together. And also people could go to the website and learn more about the extremely complicated issues of deforestation and conservation. It's not just do one thing and it's going to switch it or change it. A lot of it's involving money and politics. But again, understanding the participant in this experience, this is what we did for Tribeca. We also know that VR right now doesn't scale very well. Only one person can get in every 10 minutes. So we wanted to be able to have an auxiliary experience being projected behind them. It's not a mirror. We feel as though if people are able to see what is inside the headset, their brain will acknowledge that they've already seen it and they won't have as good of an experience. So we like to sort of mirror it with something that's more of an abstraction as to what happens. As well as, is Shin in the audience at all? Shin is an artist in residence, I believe on the 6th floor. She and her teammate Yadon from MIT Fluid Interfaces group helped us with some of the haptics. So we have here a fan, a projector. We have 3 different smells that we end up using for underground foliage, and then the fire, which happens at the end. So it's important to sort of paint a picture inside of a virtual space before you actually start making it inside the game engine. And yeah, to the delight of everyone who worked in the project, people really felt it, and that's what we wanted to do, not just to think, but how can we make people sort of go past that and take that with them when they put the headset off, So this is when we showed it in Colombia, which had very emotional response because people were, more of a connection with the Amazon. But after all the learnings from this project, we feel like we're just getting started. And with that, I'll roll the clip. Thank you very much.
much for the presentations. This one, can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you so much.